Hello there. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. I'm Ryan in Singapore. Welcome to our mindfulness practice. I guess it's been a little while. I've came back from my retreat at the 11th or the 12th of September. So I was on a 11-day silent retreat and had a bit of learning about myself, kind of what was going on. It was a particularly difficult retreat for me this time, and one of the things that I mentioned in the last live event, if you happen to be there, was just it maybe take some time to disengage a little bit. And the title of today's session is called "Trying on Emptiness." So I know I've done a few sessions where I've talked about if there's a empty space in your life, is it possible for you to let that space remain empty? Is it possible for that space to not be filled? I think the good analogy is, it's like look around the living room. What happens if there's a space inside your living room? Do you look at that space and go, oh, this is I need to go to IKEA and buy something to fill in this space? And I think that tends to be what happens, and we don't really go, oh, hey, what about leaving that space empty and seeing what that's like? Trying on emptiness maybe is a way to talk about it. And so that's really, I've talked about that a lot, but I think one of the key learnings of this retreat as well for me is to make sure that I'm really doing what it is that I'm teaching, that I'm not just sitting here and I'm telling you something, but I'm actually practicing those things that I'm talking about, and that includes the 5 pillars of mental health that I talk about sometimes, which are meditation, eating well, exercising enough, hydrating, and sleeping. These are so simple to do, but we sometimes will sacrifice one of these for something. But these really are important. I'd say the one that I was probably having the most trouble with was sleep. So anyway, practicing what I preach, trying on emptiness. So that's really what I decided to do, and I thought that having a bit of time away from the things that I usually do would be a good thing to do. And one of the things that I discovered was just how practicing what you preach, just how hard I am on myself sometimes. And I think that it's something that maybe you can relate to as well. So kind of going, well, this is, I have to do this. This is something and for whatever reason. I mean, that doesn't have to do with, maybe that, maybe we're talking about, or maybe I'm talking about this practice, for example, broadcasting live. But I'm also talking about other aspects of my life that you as the participant are not as involved in. My exercise schedule. Like, I just find that in my life I'm quite rigid about a lot of different things, and like I really want things to be a particular way and kind of try and shove my life into the mold of the way things are supposed to be. And when things aren't the way that they're supposed to be, feeling really bad about it and being hard on myself. So that's really one of the reasons to try on emptiness, to go, well, what's it like to, and I guess I'm lucky that I have the luxury to be able to disengage with a lot of the things that I'm working on. And so that was kind of part of it, to say, okay, I'm going to take these things that I'm working on, and I'm just going to take a little vacation from those, which is interesting as well, because procrastination is something that I'm not a stranger to either. So this seems like it could potentially be procrastination. But I find that, in fact, it was really good to take that time and space, and also to observe the judging mind that was there as well. Uh, One morning I decided, I'm not going to get out of bed right now, right? I'm going to, which I found really hard. That I really wanted to go and start engaging, start doing stuff, and seeing the judging thoughts around this. Well, people, depressed people don't get out of bed. Maybe immediately when it's morning time. Like maybe I'm starting to feel depressed. Seeing thoughts like this, which I'll say that wasn't the case, but just seeing that these kind of thoughts come up, that a lot of the self-judging kind of thoughts showed up even in this space. So I think kind of what I want to say here is that if you are used to filling your time, every single second of your time, maybe you're avoiding something. Maybe what I discovered as well during this time is a bit more clarity. What is it that makes me feel happy? What brings me joy? What can help me be more effective? What is my highest intention anyway, right? My highest intention is to make the place I'm in better for having been there. So what is it that is helping achieve that, and what is not? And I think that emptiness and taking time to have a bit of spaciousness, which is funny too, coming from a retreat where it seems like I'm already doing nothing, but it's really different to be back home and to have so many things around me that I can engage in, and choosing not to engage, and then starting to see, well, wait a minute, here's where I can really effectively use my time. I do have limited time. I am a mortal human being. I am going to die one day. My time on this earth is limited, so where I exert my effort is important. And there are things that I can do that are more effective than others. There are things that I can do that are going to have a greater impact than others. And so for me, this time of emptiness and disengaging allowed me to look at that with clarity. And one of the things I did discover is that this online teaching on Insight Timer is something that does nourish me, and I'm happy to come and to share my experiences, and hope that my experiences are something that resonate with you, and that you can use some of the learnings that I get in myself. And I find as well that teaching on Insight Timer does help to deepen my practice and help me to continue exploring. So maybe you were thinking that this practice ends. It doesn't end for sure, but it doesn't mean that it's not going to be modified at all. Like I said, the one thing that getting up at 4:45 in the morning does is it kind of makes me not sleep enough, especially when there's a lot going on in my house in the evenings. So just being aware of that, and giving myself permission, which I guess is something I should have done a long time ago, to not be broadcasting every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday, and to be able to see what's suitable for me and what's going to make me the best teacher for you, and to be able to nourish myself at the same time. I mean, obviously, something that I mentioned last time is that my practice is the foundation of my teaching. And if I am sacrificing my personal practice because I want to sit in front of a camera, in front of a microphone, and talk to other people, is this, what is this serving really? And I think that was a real key insight in the retreat as well. So giving myself permission to not have such rigidity, to be able to not have to exercise 6 days a week, and not to feel guilty about it, but to be aware when it's procrastination as well. So maybe this is a really key learning. And one more thing I want to say before I check the chat and start moving on is that before I came on today, I looked at, I named this session "Trying on Emptiness," and I guess that's something that I had kind of forgotten, is just how negatively that is seen usually. My life is empty. How to fill the emptiness. XYZ doesn't fill the emptiness, right? It was just really interesting to look when I wrote that into Google, like what came out. And so I think that is really interesting, and that's my encouragement to you, is mindfulness practice isn't about changing anything. Mindfulness practice is about seeing things exactly as they are. And so is it possible for you? What is an emptiness? I mean, certainly I felt some of the same things that everybody feels. Loneliness, boredom. Well, maybe not those super intensely. But, like the little pieces of those showed up. What am I going to do with my time? Can I meditate instead of doing and striving? And so it's just a good practice, and I would encourage you, if you have the time, if you have the space, try on emptiness at some point, just to really have time to see things clearly and prioritize. What is this serving me? What brings me joy in my life? And as I was looking at trying on emptiness, I saw an article about using social media to fill emptiness and the kind of additional compounding of emptiness that one tends to feel. So, if that happens, what do you feel like? And what was I was playing a online game yesterday, and it had something with the Little Prince in it. Was a collaboration with the Little Prince, and there was a character there that was like, I'm drinking the dark water, and the prince asks, "Why are you drinking the dark water?" It's to forget. What do you want to forget? That I'm ashamed. Why are you ashamed? I'm ashamed because I'm drinking the dark water. I thought that was a pretty interesting little piece. So we're going to get into practice here. Hello, Susan. Hi, John. Okay. Thanks everybody for being here. Let's go ahead and get into our mindfulness practice. So sit comfortably. I encourage you to choose a posture that's going to allow you to sit up, sit straight and tall without the assistance of a backrest, if possible. The idea for that is to have a bit more alertness so that we can fully engage with our practice. Check in with the body, see if you notice any tension. Maybe tension in the eyebrows, tension around the eyes, tension in the jaw, tension in the shoulders, tension in the lower back. Just be aware of it if it's there. Sometimes that awareness alone can allow it to dissolve, and sometimes, even when we want it to go away, it still sticks around. As we come into stillness, can we begin to notice what it feels like to be breathing? Fully focusing the mind on the sensation of breath. Noticing how the body expands as we breathe in, how it contracts as we breathe out. So as best you can for the next few moments, completely focusing the attention on the sensation of breath. How do you find your mind reacting to this kind of voidness that you may begin to become aware of as you stay focused on the breath? Does the mind try to pull away? Do you find yourself thinking about things? Just being aware of what is, what's going on, what's happening. Can you try on emptiness just for these 10 minutes? And of course, thinking about nothing is impossible, so instead of thinking about nothing and just focusing your attention on this feeling of breathing, this is the task for the mind. What does it feel like to breathe? Can I feel the hairs inside of my nostrils moving as the air passes through? So bringing that curiosity. What does it feel like to breathe? Allowing that curious mind to bring the attention here in the present moment as we examine our bodies and this natural process of breathing. Keep it up, just a few more minutes to go. Remembering that this kind of training is not just useful for right now, but what we experience and learn here we can take into our daily lives. So keep attention on the breath as best you can. Okay, well done. I encourage you to give yourself a little gratitude for having made time today to do this practice. Maybe setting some intention to practice daily, because this really is where the power of your mindfulness practice will start to blossom and emerge. So I'll close our practice with 3 rings of the bell. Thank you for joining. Hope that the meditation was good. Whatever good meditation means. I hope that you meditated. Maybe that's a better way. I hope that while I was meditating, you also were meditating. And how did it go today? Any questions or comments? Anything about I'm curious about your feelings on the topic of emptiness. As I talk through that, what was going on? Did it resonate with you? Or is this just something that I'm going through by myself right now? So let me know, write in the chat, see what's going on. And we talk about, yes, sleep is important. Why do I get up at 4:45 to do this broadcast? Well, the main reason is that supposedly there's nobody walking around inside my house at this time. Or maybe you heard the door opening and closing a minute ago. So it's not always guaranteed, but it's the one time in my day that I'm relatively sure that I have free time, that I can reliably know that at 5:10 a.m. I can broadcast. without too much interruption. And you never know. I mean, like there's construction projects going on in the house, so I think the afternoon's not so suitable. But anyway, it is what it is. This is the suitable time. So if I'm going to do my broadcast, and the other nice thing is it's possible if you live in Europe to be able to tune in to this. In Australia, it's the morning. In the U.S., it's the afternoon. So it's a kind of a it's a good time for you all as well, I think. Ben shares, the negative spaces of emptiness, such an important quality in art as in life. Thank you, Ben. It's a really great analogy. I just hadn't really thought of that, but yes, the negative space is really important, and I even like this word, negative space, too. Thanks so much for sharing. Jean says, I'm okay with being empty. I can do that. However, that being said, I can relate to the am I getting depressed? And that's and I guess that's it, right? Is it like can you ask yourself that question with that neutrality? And I think that of course I want to give anecdotal experience, right? So anecdotal experience aside, there is evidence that shows that mindfulness practice helps with depression. And I think that's really the key is if you're going to spend that time in emptiness and you have suffered from depression, like, can you look at that with honesty and go, well, what's really going on here? Am I able to disengage, or is this the beginning of an episode of depression, right? And so I think that's that comes with practice and experience. So continue practicing. Maybe take baby steps towards emptiness if that's a place that if that's step one towards a spiral of difficulty. Thanks, Jean, for sharing. Bumpy shares, I do so much without any motive. And wow, I can relate to that. I can really relate to that. Just kind of spinning my wheels. And I used to work a normal corporate job, and several different normal corporate jobs. And one of my I think all of my jobs, I get so engrossed with the work that I kind of forget to pull back and have a look at the big picture and ask myself, well, what am I really doing here? What do I want to accomplish? Like, it can be so easy to get lost in the work and to get lost in the interpersonal relationships that you have there, and oh, he's out to get me, and this is very important. This thing I'm working on, that my project is the most important project, and what's behind all of that. And that's something that's come really, really clear for me as after coming out of this meditation retreat, was like how much of my ego is attached to the things that I'm doing, because this was really very evident in the retreat. It's because of how much that in silence, right? In silence, you don't speak, right? I mean, I guess it's pretty obvious, right? You don't speak in silence. So this thing that figures out what you're going to say isn't working in the same way. My mind still had so much it wanted to say. And that was really, really interesting, and just how much ego there was there. So, finding that there is a lot of wheel spinning that I do that doesn't have an end to it. So thanks, Bumpy, for sharing. Dirk says, a wake-up call for me. Love to hear more about why this is a wake-up call for you. Amethyst shares, my mind constantly wanders during meditation, but at least I continue to return to my breath. I'm learning to enjoy the emptiness. It's nice. And I think that's really key. My mind wanders constantly during meditation, but at least I continued returning to the breath. As you return to the breath, this is the real power of mindfulness practice. That moment that you go, it's I'm not focused on the breath, but maybe more importantly than that, it's I'm not focused, I'm not doing the thing that I'm intending to be doing right now. Let me let go of the other thing and come back to the thing that I'm intending to do, which at this particular point in time is to watch my breath. But you'll find that this is the skill that carries over the most into daily life. This is what mindfulness is. Am I focused on what I'm doing right now? Oh, wait a minute, I'm not. Let me let go of this distraction and come back to that thing that I'm intending to be doing right now. Super powerful in so many ways. And I guess that's I think the most amazing thing for me was to watch how emotions can be tamed through that process. And that's in fact what Thursday's talk is about. So, today's Tuesday morning for me. So it might be, let's say, Monday night for you. So Wednesday night for you if you're in Europe or the Western Hemisphere. We're talking about emotional contagion, how the emotions of others can affect you, and which is a normal, natural. And I look forward to chatting about that. But anyway, mindfulness is something very powerful in that space of emotional contagion. When your emotions start to go out of control, your mindfulness can help you to remember what's going on right now. So we'll talk about that on my Thursday, maybe your Wednesday. Oh, and Jean, thanks for sharing the flip side of the coin. Am I too excited or extra happy, or is this mania? So that's the other side, is when we're mindfulness, being aware of what's present here, and using yourself, using your past as experience to go, oh, I've done this before. And I think that's really what's important in mindfulness practice as well too, is that you're going to fail many times, and that as even though saying focus on the present moment, there's always one piece that we can do as we contemplate what's going on is see how we reacted in the past, because these mental pathways that we have, they have been laid down for many years for most of us. So can we see, oh, wait a minute, I'm doing that thing that I usually do. Oh, I recognize this mental pattern. And it's that kind of recognition that gives us the space between ourselves and our monitoring selves, and going, oh, now I can see, now I'm up here, I can see with clarity what's going on. Thank you, Jean. Thank you, everybody. It's time for me to go. Next time is emotional contagion. I will try my best to stay at 10 minutes on my talk. I know today I was probably around the 15-minute mark. I really want to make sure we have time for 15 minutes of practice. So we'll make that as part of my goal for next time. Less talk, more meditate. So we'll do our best for that. Let's see. You can support me by, if you found this practice useful and you have not already, please follow me on Insight Timer. I will be doing more live practices going forward. I also have some premium tracks. I have some regular tracks. So what else you can do to support me? Listen to my free tracks. They are mindfulness meditations. There's a few talks here and there. You listen to those tracks. You can listen to my premium tracks. If you're an Insight Timer Plus member, that helps even more. You can join Ryan's Daily Mindfulness Circle and participate in the chat there. And you can always donate. Those donations 100% go directly to me and support me and my teaching. So keep it up. Keep up your practice. And thanks for any support that you can give so that I can keep doing this thing that I love doing so much. So, all right. Until next time, I will see you all on Thursday morning for me, Wednesday night for many of you. And we'll talk about a little bit more about how mindfulness helps with emotional regulation and mostly emotional regulation. Let's send our well wishes out to ourselves and to each other before we go. Follow along if you like. May I be happy and peaceful. May all of my fellow meditators here, everyone who's watching and listening right now, I wish all of them happiness and peace. And may all sentient life around the world and across the universe be happy and peaceful. Until next time. Bye-bye.